Hello and welcome to Nine Maples Weekly Whiskey Spotlight. I'm Tracy and this is Alistair here from Copper Dog. He's going to tell us a little bit about this blended malt today from Speyside. So Copper Dog is a blended malt, and we discussed a little bit what the difference of a blended malt is and a blended whiskey.
That's correct, Trace. Thanks for having me, first of all.
Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it. Yes, this is a blended malt. What that means is it's a blend of single malts. All the single malts that go into this blend come from the Speyside region of Scotland. That's the heart of whisky making in Scotland. So this is a small area of Scotland that has approximately 50 distilleries, and so we have at least 8 single malts that go into this blend.
Very nice. And Copper Dog, it tells a little story about the special flask on the back here.
Right. So yes, it's called Copper Dog, and what I love about it is you can pronounce the name of this scotch. It's a little easier than some of the other ones, so that's first and foremost.
True
but
story.
It's named after a device used by distillery workers to acquire whiskey. I don't like to use the word steal because, well, that's illegal. So it's when they wanted to help themselves to whiskey, they would make a copper dog, and they would use that to acquire whiskey out of barrels. And I've brought a copper dog along with me today, okay? So don't be scared, Trace, okay?
Unique. Wow.
That's a copper dog.
So it's like a variation of a flask.
Yes. So the distillery workers would create these, make these out of a piece of copper pipe or even an old artillery shell. And what they would do is they would go into the warehouse when the boss wasn't around, find their favourite barrel, take the bung off the barrel, take the cork off the copper dog, and they would drop it inside the barrel. Fill it with whiskey, put the cork back on, and then they would drop it down the inside of their pants and smuggle it out the door.
It's a good spot.
It is a good spot, yes. And it was called a dog because it was your best friend. It never left your side, and it was on a leash.
I love it. That's a good one.
So that is what a copper dog is, and that's what we've named our whiskey after. So
Good name.
it is a good name, and who doesn't like dogs?
Who doesn't?
Nobody.
So let's try this.
Absolutely. So Trace, as I said, this is a blend of at least 8 single malts, all from the Speyside region of Scotland. And I would describe Copper Dog as Speyside in a glass. It's a true representation of Speyside as a whisky region. So, as we say in Scotland, we don't say cheers in Scotland, we say Slangivar, and it means to your very best health.
I love it.
Slangivar.
A little apricot on the nose.
As you can tell, you smell it first, I just drink it. That's the Scottish in me coming out. But yes, very fruity. Apples, pears, those apricot notes you talked about.
A little black pepper on the palate.
Black pepper, some people pick that up as cinnamon. I see that, I like that. The whiskies that go in are just lightly peated.
It's a nice delicate peat.
Yes.
Really.
So very, very approachable. And as a classic Speyside, I pick up this nice honey note, which I really like, and just very, very easy to drink, very approachable.
It's like a medium finish.
Yes, medium finish. And for me, what I've found in talking to people about Copper Dog and what's appealed to a lot of people is people who say, I don't drink whiskey, I'm not a Scotch drinker. They've really enjoyed it. So it's been great to see people who traditionally have stayed away from Scotch whisky drinking more Scotch whisky because they've enjoyed this and found Copper Dog to be very approachable to drink. So that's been wonderful. It is. We use some ex-bourbon barrels in the maturing of the Scotch whisky, so we're picking up some of those sweeter notes. That apple note, some people talk about there's like a toffee apple kind of sweetness to it.
Right.
So that kind of shines through.
It is warm. It's dynamic too. More flavors come forward.
Yes, and that's for me is what a blend is, and this is a blended malt, as you said up front. So it's got some of those singular flavours that you associate with a single malt, but it's also got that depth and complexity of a blend.
You're mentioning that.
So it's the best of both worlds.
Agreed.
Which means it's great neat on the rocks, but also mixes really well if you want to have it in a tall, refreshing drink. It makes a great highball. But also makes great cocktails. So very, very versatile.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming and joining us today.
Grace, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Fabulous to have you. Slanjiva.
Slanjiva. Look at you, you're talking
Thank you.
Scottish. Cheers.